Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. If you think you're too busy, have too much to do, or can't find the time to follow your passion, listen to the advice of our guest, Karmel Larson. Karmel, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Karmel, you have a most interesting life and background, so before we get, there's so many things we could be talking about, but I just want to start out and tell our audience a little bit about, the early years of your life. Let's put it that way. If I understand correctly from your book, Circle Up, your husband works in the piano business. Is that correct?
That's right. He started out as a piano tuner and technician when I first met him, and he's built a career from there. We have together.
And I think that together is part of the key words. Did I read something in your book where when times were a little tough, and you have a large family, and at that time I think you had 5 kids. Is that correct?
That's right. We have 8 now, but we've had lots of tough times over the years, and we've had to be creative.
Well, what I'm talking about is I read one section in your book where you literally took one of your children to walk with you, put 2 kids in a stroller, put one kid on a little harness, I guess, in front, one kid on the back, and went around promoting the business. Is that correct?
That's right. If, payroll's coming up and you haven't met the needs of the business, as an entrepreneur, you don't give up. You find solutions. And that month, the solution was, let's go knock doors. My husband didn't have enough tunings, then he would knock doors carrying his toolkit on his shoulder with a shoulder strap, and I would put the kids in the double jogger and front and back of me, and I'd deliver flyers door to door. And, as an entrepreneur, you've got to make it happen. Nobody's going to make it happen for you. And so we would get out there and hustle. And we made it work.
I love that attitude because most of us would spend the time complaining. This isn't working. You have to get a job. We'd fight, get divorced, or whatever else. And you just got out there and did it. And if I'm correct, too, at one point you actually had 23 pianos sitting in your house and garage with all the children running around and all the other things that were going on. Did I get that number right?
That is right. We actually got rid of a lot of furniture. We didn't have much furniture to begin with. It was all bought at secondhand stores because all of our money went into our business early on, and it still does often. And we replaced furniture with pianos. We were very motivated to move our piano business from just tuning to add additional revenue streams, which meant we needed more product, more pianos to sell, and we didn't have a commercial space yet, and so we just kept building up our inventory in our home. Fortunately, after 23 pianos in our home and garage, we did get our first commercial space. All
right, there you go. Now, you begin your book, and the book is entitled Circle Up, and you say, a quote from Mark Twain, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Can you explain what that means and why that's so important?
Well, I think the first one is obvious. Your life beginning is pretty important. I might add in there the day you have children as well. It gives you quite a lot of passion and purpose. And I think for my husband especially, and for me, had we not had children that we had to care for and meet financial obligations for, we may have lacked some motivation and just been happy to kick back a little bit. But the responsibility of caring for those children certainly added to our hustle. Then when we had businesses thriving and succeeding, the question became, well, what are we going to do with our wealth and some free time? And praying over that question certainly led to deeper passion and purpose in life, which I think is an important question for anyone to ask as success becomes evident, is are you going to just focus on being good yourself in your own life, or ask the question, what can I be good for in this life and doing good for others?
Do you find most people, and I know you bring this out heavily in the beginning of the book, do they lack a real purpose and a passion for that purpose? Is that the problem, that why we kind of go to work lackluster? I mean, we're flipping burgers. Maybe we've been a math teacher for 10 years, and that's important, but we're teaching the same math day in, day out, and we're getting a little tired with it. Is that purpose and that drive missing for most of us?
I think it may be for some, and I think each of us have such a unique, different course in life. And I think that many individuals have multiple passions. For me, my children and motherhood is absolutely something I'm extremely passionate about. My family is my magnum opus, my life's greatest work. But I also have so many other passions, and it seems with each new decade I'm discovering new passions or having new purpose put into my life through faith experiences. And yet I don't know that I had much purpose at all as a teenager, as a young person, or even thought about life purpose, passion, or a why behind my existence. And yet my 17-year-old son, he discovered one of his life passions at 13, discovered that chemistry was his thing, and he's been so extremely passionate about it and was able to start into cancer research young as a teenager. And so I think it's an important question to consider, whether you discover it as an adult or as a teenager. You can mentor your children to think in that way. But each of us have a different timetable, and those passions change over time as well. And I think that's okay.
Now, just so our audience knows and to kind of set the scene, and they probably should have a pad and pencil handy, because when they hear all of the things that you're doing, as well as starting a company, as well as helping your husband and the family, we started out saying that you walked through the neighborhood with 5 children, but that wasn't the end of it. You actually had 7 children of your own, and if I read the book correctly, you adopted another one. So you had a rather large group in there to take care of. Am I correct?
That's right. Yeah, we thought we were done at 7, and one more showed up, and we adopted her, and the party just keeps getting more and more exciting.
And it's a great attitude and a great way to look at it. But it's amazing how much you're able to get done. And again, most of us, I think, if someone sees us and they say, "How you doing?" "Oh, I'm exhausted," or "I had to go to 2 meetings today." "Oh, poor you." And when we hear your lifestyle, yeah, you're laughing because how you get this done. And if I'm correct, your children are homeschooled, right?
Well, we have homeschooled for the bulk of the last 13 years. We've done a little bit of everything with some public school, some charter school. What we like to do is customize our children's education for each one of them every year and discuss, let them help participate in that decision-making process, and find out what's best for each child as they grow and mature. But we've had a lot of success and really loved a homeschool lifestyle.
And it sounds like you have a very happy home, too, because in reading the book, you get it. I certainly get a feeling coming right off the pages, obviously a lot of love. And despite the fact that you work so hard and your husband was working so hard and you're growing new businesses all over the place, the primary emphasis of every page in the book is the family and the children. Is that a correct statement?
Absolutely. That's a focus of my life. I like to think of my priority order as faith first, my own faith and my own self-care and wellness and wholeness as an individual, and then my marriage and my family. So faith, family, and then my third priority would be my purpose or my why or my passion or doing good in the world, contributing to community and society, trying to be useful in the hands of God. But my family is epic. And my husband and I try our best to work together to make sure that boundaries are put in place, that we bookend our day with our morning devotionals with our children, our evening dinner, and being there at the crossroads. But let me be honest here, our family is not perfect by any means. Our children are gifted on many accounts, but we also have our problems, our struggles. Our family of 10 has some mental health issues. We struggle like the rest of them, but we work really hard to try our best to have great traditions in place, systems and routines, to do all the work.
I appreciate you saying
our very best.
I appreciate you saying that, because on behalf of all parents, I think we look at someone and I guess to use the television couple or the sitcom or the story on TV, and usually everything looks so ideal. Nothing negative ever happens, nothing bad. If it does, it's set up for a comedy or something, so we get a laugh out of it. But like any real world, nothing works perfectly. People are going to get sick. They're going to get sick at the wrong time. They're going to have an accident on the baseball field or the school bus or something. And problems do come up. I mean, nobody has that perfect life where everything is just all peaches and cream. Now, it's something I read in your book, and this seems to be a driving force. You say the quote, "Why am I doing," emphasis on the word, "this now?" And you stress that, why am I doing this now. Why is the word this so important in that statement?
Well, there's multiple important words in that statement. The why, you need to know the why behind everything you're doing. And the this, why am I doing this? You need to know that the thing you're doing is the right thing, that you're the right person to be doing it, and that it's the right season of life. Why am I doing this now? You need to know that it's the right thing for this season of your life. And I think that's an important phrase that I've used over and over in my own life to evaluate how I'm spending my time, and am I spending my time on the right things for the right reasons?
Now,
and it has helped me at many times to get rid of things in my life and to reprioritize.
I think that's a great quote to go with for people, though. Why am I doing this now? If it's not the most important or the priority item, do we have to do it? Many of us will put the TV show first, or going bowling, or whatever our side enjoyment is, and maybe that's not the primary thing at that time. Karmel, I'd like to let our audience know, if they're just tuning in, our guest today is Karmel Larson. She's the author of the book Circle Up, The Story of Momni, M-O-M-N-I, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But first, we're going to ask you if you'd let us know, where is the book available, and is there a website?
Well, two places you might get the book. One is Amazon. That's the easiest one. And you can also get it at themomnifoundation.org. All proceeds go to support the vision and mission of Momni.
And I'd like our audience to know also that, if they're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. As I said before, our guest is Karmel Larson, Larson. Her book is called Circle Up, The Story of Momni, and we're going to get into that shortly. Now, tell us, at this point, you have the full family, they're coming on, you're homeschooling, etc. And I don't know if I have things chronologically correct, but you went out and got a real estate license, and in your first year, you became Rookie of the Year real estate agent. Was that a correct statement?
That's right. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and both my parents are realtors. My siblings have been realtors and brokers. And at the time that I took on that pursuit, I was caring for my grandfather who had Alzheimer's. We brought him into our home to provide 24/7 care. And many people had warned me that I'd better take a break during my day so that I didn't get caregiver burnout. Well, I'm not one to go shopping or out to lunch or just sleep to take a break. And so I thought, well, what could I do a few hours a day to take a break from being a caregiver? So I got my real estate license, and it just took off. It was a good time for the real estate market. And yeah, craziest thing, I did get Rookie of the Year, and I had to bring my husband on board to take some of my leads.
And again, you're probably too modest to tell our audience this, but I copied it from your book. In your spare time, you became a member of the American Mothers Incorporated. You were president of the Utah County chapter of American Mothers. You were chapter president of Women for Decency. And, oh, yeah, you were also Mrs. Utah, United States. Did I copy that correctly?
That is correct. I guess I did have a season of activity. I've just always enjoyed interacting with other women and mothers and being involved in organizations that are doing good in the community. Again, trying to first put my faith and my family as my priority, but waking up early and trying to have good systems and routines, I've found that I can still have a few hours in the day where I can go and enjoy outside organizations' activities and attempt to do some good in the world.
Well, I think you're definitely doing that. And again, going through your book chronologically, there came a point where, I guess with most families, your husband said, gee, finances are getting a little tough. And again, I put quote marks around this. You said, well, let's get some more money. And you started a business, and that's what we're talking about today, called Momni, M-O-M-N-I. So can you tell us what that is?
Sure. Momni it's an app. It's very much like the Airbnb of childcare. Our vision is to link mothers together through technology, sharing economy technology, to help solve the global childcare crisis. Many people have heard of ride sharing or room sharing. We refer to Momni as care sharing, where you can go to the app and put in your zip code and scroll through a list of mothers or momnies who are providing childcare in their homes. You can filter through them. You can look for ratings, reviews. You can filter for background checks, and then book a mother, drop your children off in her home. Or if you need to earn extra income on the side, you can sign up to be a Momney host and have instant, flexible, family-friendly income from home.
Now, this seems like an amazing undertaking, but also a vast one with all that we hear and goes on in the world today. If you're leaving children anywhere, we all talk about in the good old days, the child went out at 8 o'clock in the morning, came home for dinner. They found their own way of playing ball, kickball, stickball, baseball, whatever they did all day, and things were fine. But today, it's a different environment. So I would think there's a lot of work to be done to do something like that, whether it's insurance for the moms who are helping out and doing this and providing some daycare. Is that what they're doing?
That's right. One of the things that we provide through the app is groups, Momney groups. And a lot of people are gathering together on a platform with people they already know and trust, like it might be a book club or a church group or a PTA. But those who might be new to an area and don't have a support group already, then they're using the ratings, the reviews, the background checks, and going to meet someone new. And it's similar to other environments where when you hire a new babysitter or you need to bring on a nanny or a daycare, you don't know the person at first. But you can go and meet them, introduce yourself, and strangers quickly become friends when you get to know them.
And starting any new business is amazing. And again, you were doing so much, just having that size of a family alone and helping your husband. I think most of us would say, hey, I'm doing more than enough to get starting any type of business, much less one that now is in 50 states. What are some of the hurdles, and did you ever see an obstacle there and say, oh, okay, now I'm really stuck. That's a mountain. I'm not going to be able to get over that, or I can't afford it, et cetera, et cetera?
There have been many, and many miracles have come to help us get past those. My husband and I were the first investors of Momney, and we ran out of money ourselves, and we thought that might be the end of things. We were able to then join a venture services accelerator that helped us get to the next level and ran out of money again. Then another miracle occurred. We were able to secure investment, which is kind of unheard of, especially for a female-founded tech startup. In last year, only 2.8% of venture funding was awarded to female founders. And so that was a miraculous endeavor. And there have been many instances since where I've thought, is this the end? Is this the end? And we just keep battling on, and that's the heart and spirit of entrepreneurship.
And I was going to say, is that it? I mean, it seems like, I guess the word that would cover that is perseverance, and you have to have the strength to say, wait, I'm not going to go back over that bridge because it's not there anymore. It was wiped out, or the water went over it, or the flood waters, whatever, that you're just going to keep going forward. And somehow it does seem for many of our entrepreneurs that the pieces do come together, or a new idea comes up, or someone comes in and helps them. And that's how many of these great businesses have gotten started. Is that a good description of your operation? Absolutely. I think that one of the greatest attributes of a successful entrepreneur is being a problem solver and a visionary. And you've got to have a strong enough why behind what you're doing that you're willing to put forth the effort and the sacrifice and the mind struggle and just the sheer work to bring forth solutions to the problems. And that's what we've been doing for decades, but especially in the last few years with Momney. Do you feel it was your passion for motherhood? If you opened up some other type of tech business, accounting, or I don't know all the different ones they have, maybe something in healthcare, do you think you would have had the drive that you had, or was it really that this was helping out mothers and really doing an amazing thing for people who otherwise could probably not afford it? I could not possibly have been successful launching an accounting or a healthcare or any type of product-based startup. I think the only reason why I've been successful this far is I feel it's a life call, and absolutely intertwined with my passion for motherhood, not just my own, but my desire to help strengthen other mothers and families. And there's a real drive behind this app. It's more of a movement of linking mothers together to bring together those women to help solve a global crisis. If it was just for money or just to have an app, there is no way I would have the vision, the drive, and be willing to have made the sacrifices that I have personally and the sacrifices of my family and our finances to make it work. I think you've got to have an extreme
personal drive and passion behind what you're doing to make it successful if it's something at a large scale.
Now, Karmel, once again, we want our audience to know, if you're just tuning in, this is a very important topic and might be of great help to many people in our audience or their friends or relatives. You're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, but today the person we're talking to and the most important person here is Karmel Larson, spelled Larson. Her book is called Circle Up, The Story of Momni, Momni. That's the company she founded. And Karmel, can you tell us where can we get more information and where is the book available?
Absolutely. The book's on Amazon, and you can learn more about Momni at momni.com, or you can also get the book at momnifoundation.org. All proceeds are going to help support the vision and mission of Momni.
And if someone wants to become involved, let me ask you this now. Someone hearing this says, oh, that would be perfect. I would love to have my children work with someone there, or I would like to be part of it. Where do they go to find out more information about that?
Well, if they'd like to use the Care Sharing app and connect with other mothers for childcare, they can go to momni.com or get the Momni app in the App Store. Or if they'd like to volunteer for the Momni Foundation, momnifoundation.org has resources for becoming a volunteer and contributing to the effort that way.
And I think for a lot of people, that may be what they're looking for, and to be able to volunteer, help other moms, make life a little easier for them, and trade off another person's experience to help them get through the tough times. It's wonderful for the person on who's volunteering, and it's also wonderful for the mom who's on the other end of things. Sometime at your meetings, you have something called Thorns and Roses. Tell us about that.
Well, one of the things that we promote through the Momni Foundation is what we call Momni Circles, where we encourage groups of mothers to gather, about 8 to 15 women once a month, to support each other, to mentor each other, to share education. There's such strength in women gathering together and mentoring each other. And one of the things we recommend at those meetings just helps to create a spirit of vulnerability and sharing that creates a very rapid and strong, cohesive bond, and that's the Thorns and Roses. It's sharing something great that's happening in life, but then what really bonds them together is the thorn, sharing what's hard right now. And what's really beautiful about this experience when women gather together and share a positive and negative, or a thorn and a rose, is it turns into a very deep sharing of advice and help and support.
You must get a lot of wonderful stories coming back from the people who take part in this. Can you share any of them with us?
Well, what makes it so successful is it's a very safe environment for sharing that's very personal and trusted. There's a lot of things that are shared in these groups that many women wouldn't feel comfortable sharing publicly. Let me share with you, though, one of my favorite stories of mothers coming together for care sharing on the app. We had a woman who needed to go to another state for a brain surgery, and her sister reached out through the Momni app to find childcare for her 2 children, because her sister lived in another state and wasn't able to help. And so she was able to find a mother and a family to care for her sister's children for the time that her sister needed to travel out of state for medical surgery. And that was a very heartwarming experience to see come through our customer support, how these 3 women came together to help each other in this time of great need.
Karmel, did you have a mentor through this process? I think you mentioned that someplace in the book. And if so, how did that help you, and where did he or she pinpoint something that was important to you?
I have been so blessed to have many great mentors. I'll share one of my first mentors was Paula Fellingham when I first got started with this idea. And I went to her and I told her about the idea, and I knew I needed to put myself out there and share the idea. And I mentioned different types of marketing or speaking, or maybe I should do Facebook Lives. And I just had so much fear about putting myself out there in such a public way. And she leaned into me and said something that I will never forget. And she said, "Oh, get over yourself. This is not about you. You know this is not about you. This is about the women, the children, the families that you feel deeply called to serve. And it was such a great reminder to me. And I think about that every time before I get on a podcast like this or put a book out or get on a Facebook Live or get on a stage. And I have to remind myself still to get over the fear, to get over myself. It's not about me. And I think about and I visualize and I often meditate upon the people who I'm trying to serve. And that helps me to overcome my fear of the difficult things I've been asked to do over the course of the last years.
I think if I remember, there was a story in there too. I think it involved that same lady. She said to you to set a goal, and a big goal and a little goal. And I think something about the little goal was that you were going to get to church earlier, and the big goal was that you were going to smile more. Am I correct about that?
That's right. She challenged me to create what she referred to as a map, a master achievement plan, and set goals, set vision in different categories of my life. And one of them was a social goal. And I came back to her and I said, I'm going to smile more at church because I'm not very friendly. And she laughed at me and she said, oh, no. That's not what your goal is going to be. And she just helped me have bigger perspective, to think bigger, to open up my world in a huge way. She said, you're going to need to think more like a global leader. You got to put yourself out there in big, enormous ways. And she set a goal for me. And she said, you're going to have more than 100 diverse global friends from different countries in the next year. And it just blew my mind. I said, you're kidding me. That's not possible. What are you talking about? And she said, just set the goal because that's what you need. You need lots of friends in diverse places. And I did. At the end of that year, I had an enormous amount of friends. And so she taught me in that occasion and many others to think bigger, to open up my vision, and to dream bigger and expect more of myself and of others.
That was one of my favorite stories, when you went from getting to church earlier and smiling more to getting 100 people in different countries to be part of this. And I think if you could do something like that and go from your original goal to that, most of us could easily double or triple what we're doing and finding that passion and helping the world. Karmel, what you're doing is so interesting. I would like to emphasize to our listeners again, tell us how we can learn more about Momni and Me. Your website?
Sure, go to momni.com, or also the momnifoundation.org shares the vision and mission of how we're trying to bring mothers together to help solve the global child care crisis.
And to our audience, if you want someone else to hear this show, or you think it would be ideal for someone to help out, volunteer, or be part of things, you can go to nccradio.org. That's nccradio.org, and listen to a podcast of the show. The guest is Karmel Larson. Of course, the name of our show is The Secrets of Success, and Karmel's book is Circle Up. If you want to read an interesting book that you're going to have trouble putting down, as I did, get hold of Circle Up. Karmel, thanks so much for being with us today. Great luck to you in your company, and I'm sure we're going to have many more companies that's coming out of the Karmel Larson family. I'd like to let our audience...
Thank you so much.
Oh, quite all right. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'd like to let our audience know that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, asking you to please join us again next week at the same time when we will continue our journey to success.